What Ike Allen and Andy Anderson have created at AVAIYA is what the world needs.
Hello, AVAIYA family. I'm Andy Anderson. My partner Ike Allen and I are teachers, mentors, and the co-owners of AVAIYA University. AVAIYA is the creator of over 1,000 books, films, courses, teachings, and other supportive resources. Thank you, as always, for joining us. Our fellow teacher, Lisa A Romano, is back with us today to talk about how codependency is level 1 consciousness you need to awaken from. Lisa is a certified life coach, meditation teacher, best-selling author, and YouTube vlogger, specializing in codependency and narcissistic abuse recovery. She creates real-life tools to help people evolve past their traumas so they can live in peace, achieve success, and create harmony in their lives regardless of painful past events. Lisa's work helps awaken people to the idea that what is wrong is not them, it is only their programming. Welcome back to AVAIYA, Lisa.
Thanks for inviting me back. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, good to see you again. So, okay, the topic being codependency is this level 1 consciousness. What do you mean by that?
So when we're born asleep. We're born into a sleep state. And then we move into what's called the theta brainwave state, which is basically from the ages of 0 to 7, you're rapidly downloading information from the outside. So that's creator, infinite intelligence. By design, we need to know a lot of things, believe it or not, by the time that we're 7. So we basically are indoctrinated and programmed, brainwashed even, to believe in the set of rules that we have been born into. So I have to acclimate to my family. That secures survival. I don't have the objectivity to recognize whether or not the people that are raising me are healthy or unhealthy, love themselves, are unaware or are aware. I know nothing about addiction. I know nothing about narcissism. I know nothing. I just, these are the rules, so I play by those rules. Then I go out into the world from 7 to 12 and 15, and my peers become super important to me. So I take all of these rules that I learned in my family and I apply them out into the world. And whatever happens, happens as a result of that programming. But I'm unaware. I don't know that I've been programmed. I don't know that I have this thinking process that is the result of how I've experienced other people or in how other people have experienced me. So if I don't love myself, sometimes I don't even know that I don't love myself because I have no awareness around how I feel about myself. So I might feel bad, or I might be reacting to life and negative consequences might be happening, but I don't know it's the result of not feeling good enough. I don't know it's the result of having a poor identity of self. I don't know it's the result of what happened in childhood. I have no clue. So I'm unaware that I'm acting out this pattern from childhood, right? Mm-hmm. That's why so oftentimes we see if your dad was an alcoholic, you can either become an alcoholic or marry an alcoholic. You know, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree when it comes to programming. Not all the time, but very oftentimes, if you come from an alcoholic home, you'll develop some level of codependency, feeling invisible and becoming a caretaker and feeling like it's your job to take care of the person who has this addiction. So that's what I mean about programming. And so if you're codependent, you don't have a healthy sense of self. You settle for scraps. You think you don't know that you think or feel like it's your job. You're just unaware. It's your job to see yourself as an extension of other people. So you react to life, you don't create life. You react. So you oftentimes find people and figure out what it is that that person needs, and you become super useful. You put on your cape and you save them. You're other focused. You don't know that you're not focusing on the self. You're just doing what's automatic, what you've been conditioned to do. So that's level 1 codependency. And I don't mean to sound over dramatic about it, but codependency can kill you, because when you are seeking the approval of other people, oftentimes you never get it. And so you're draining your battery, and you seek people who can't see you, who are wired to not hear you, but you keep trying. And you think, if I say it different, if I change this, if I tweak that, you're giving up yourself. You're not living from your authentic voice, from your authentic self. If you can't speak with authority as the author of your life in an authentic way, then you can't set boundaries. then you can't get out of bad situations. You stay. You're like that frog that's in that hot pot, well, that pot of water, and you just turn on the flame a little bit, that frog boils in that water. That's what codependency is like. And I feel like it's my mission, based on my experiences, to help people awaken to that level 1 so they can get to level 2, which is, oh, wow, I'm in a pattern. My childhood did this to me, and there's something that I can do about it.
Yeah, I love that you mentioned, right, that we're unaware that we're unaware, right? We don't know that we don't know.
Oh, Andy, when I think about most of my life, I lived that way, like, and the moment, like, my therapist said to me, oh, you're codependent. I was like, what? I'm what? I had no idea. And the permission that this authority figure gave me to acknowledge that there really was something wrong in my childhood. I wasn't crazy, because when you're raised by people who are also unaware, they're feeding you, sending you to school. What's your problem, kid? What more do you want? Stop crying. Come over here. I'll give you something to cry about. This lack of connection. You can't get the connection that you need, and you're driven to get it, but you're told that you're crazy for wanting it. Right? And so what does that do? That teaches you that you're wrong for feeling what you feel. And then you wonder, am I real? Am I even real? Because I can't attach to my authentic self. If the people that love me are telling me that what I want is wrong, or what I feel is wrong, I have no right to feel it, I have no other choice but to detach from my true self. But I still psychologically am driven by survival to attach. And so based on the beliefs that I've gained through life, they're dysfunctional. I feel insecure. I'm still seeking to attach. And that's why codependency is so elusive and dangerous, because you will seek to attach oftentimes to a being that resonates with the person who abandoned you the most.
Yeah. And so, okay, right. When you first, obviously you became aware that you were codependent because your therapist was there to help you become aware of such a thing. Right. How can people who are watching or listening right now awaken out of that level 1 consciousness? What does it take to become aware? I think
that's why I love doing these summits. I love doing webinars. I love creating posts, because it's an opportunity to reflect back to someone an aspect or reflection of themselves that they can't see yet. Right. So I think far too many of us are missing the mark. If you are someone who thinks it's your job to make someone else happy, only you know that. But you don't know you're doing it until you hear someone like you or I say, you're missing the mark. So then it becomes, okay, do I do that? Do I live outside of myself? How happy are you? How fulfilled are you? How satisfied are you? How much anxiety do you have rolling around in your body when you go home at night, or when your husband walks through your door, or when your child comes home? What happens to you in a crowd of people? Do you immediately wonder what they're thinking about you and how they feel about you? Do you immediately think, how can I please that person, or how can I please that person? So it really is having conversations like this, and then talking about symptoms, talking about our experiences, that gives other people an opportunity to see themselves in that story. And for me, and this was a long time ago when I was learning about codependency, now with, the help of your great work, my work, and so many other people, we're talking about narcissism, which inadvertently you're going to learn about codependency, because if you keep attracting narcissistic people, you're the common denominator. Chances are you've got some level of codependency going on, right? You're missing it. You're not, something's wrong, right? So your chances are there's a good chance that you're going to hear about codependency in today's day and age. But I think one of the best ways is really for us to have conversations, and open conversations, so that people can see themselves in our stories. That's a way to understand it. And then start asking yourself, am I happy? Do I know what I think? Do I know what I feel? That blew my mind. I knew what my ex-husband's favorite color was. I knew what his favorite meal was. I knew his favorite place to go to dinner. I didn't know those things about myself. I could tell you what my mother was thinking, what my father was thinking. I was so hypervigilant. I had no clue I was doing that. I had spidey senses. I could walk into a room and tell you she feels depressed. Something's up with her. Something's up with that one. I had to develop that spidey sense to survive my childhood because it wasn't safe. And so lions and tigers and bears are mine. Stay on guard, pay attention to what's happening outside of you. But that came at the expense of me connected to myself.
Mm-hmm. And so this awakening out of level 1 would put one, I guess, in level 2. So is level 2 just like having the awareness? Is that what level 2 is?
Well, that's what I consider, because once my therapist said, you're codependent, and this is why, then it was just this space in my mind opened up. It was like, I was no longer unaware. It's like toothpaste out of the tube. You can't get it back in again. And then I was like, I want to know what this means. And then as I dove into learning about codependency and the subconscious mind, even hypnosis and programming, understand, how does the mind become programmed and hijacked to think something that is so perverse, perverted from what is truth, which is self-love? How do you program a mind to go that far around that it doesn't know that it's enough, or the being that it encapsulates or is a part of is not enough? And it comes down to basically hypnosis, which happens between 0 and 7. And so I became fascinated with this idea and then began to observe my mind. So I got my little marble notebook from the dollar store, and I said, you know what, instead of reacting, I'm going to stop. I'm going to observe and listen. And suddenly I was hearing, and it frightened me because my voices were so negative. You're stupid. You're ridiculous. That's why people don't love you. Your mother's right about you. You're never going to have friends. You're never going to make it on your own. You had no right to get a divorce. You're ugly. Who's going to want you? You're incapable. You're going to fail. There's no way that you can. I was terrified when I began to hear the patterns, the language patterns that were so negative. But then something beautiful happened. Then it was like, no wonder I got asthma and migraine headaches, and my stomach was a mess, and I had an ulcer. My poor body, my poor brain felt attacked, like it needed to be in survival mode. But the enemy was in me now. It was self-generated, but it wasn't on purpose. It was on autopilot. So, breaking down the id, the ego, and the superego, and understanding my ego learned to believe that she wasn't enough. And I had to develop coping strategies to help alleviate the pain of that, which was codependency. Right. And so the superego is based on all of these family patterns. You're not good enough. You need to be quiet. Little girls historically have been taught that they should shut up. And if you step out of the silence, you're a bitch, right? You're not allowed to be strong. Your husband can be strong. You can't be strong. And that was part of my download. Be quiet. Only daddy can be strong. Only your brother can be funny or whatever. And it was like, oh my God, like all of these patterns in my head that my ego was listening to were the result of this faulty experience in childhood. So that was level 2 consciousness, observing the patterns. And that was really interesting, mind-boggling, frightening, and exciting all at the same time. Because I thought, what if I could program myself? What if I could program myself? And that's really what level 3 is all about.